Hello, this is Julius Caesar here, and I'm about to get started on a little bit of something cool, which is an alternate history on what if the Ottoman Empire became Christian. Now we are moving around now to the time after the Napoleonic Wars, and we're going to discuss a little bit about the French front, the front in France. So, first of all, the people of France, they fought in a civil war between the factions that supported Napoleon, monarchists, and republicans. The international coalition against Napoleon, a lot of their attitude was, just let them fight. But, they don't want another Napoleon, so they decide to go to the option they believe to be best, which is the monarchist option. And the monarchy is reestablished on July 14th, 1816. French citizens. At that day of the coronation, when peace is finally established, at least somewhat within Paris, within the area of northern France, the French citizens, they gathered together with a lot of other, with a lot of foreign soldiers that were parts of the coalition. They gathered together with Republicans. There is no concept of complete and utter peace, but at least something has been secured in Paris. So the French people and the coalition that came with them, they gathered together in their mission to completely destroy the Arc de Triomphe. And their idea was that they were going to ultimately replace it with a statue of those who died in the Napoleonic Wars. In its place, a new statue is built, honoring those who have died fighting Napoleon's arrogant attempts of conquest, the civilians, everyone who died in the war. Eventually, somewhat of a peace is restored. France is established, but it's broken down into regions. The French nation will never be any more powerful than they currently are because of their current territories and Paris, surrounding areas of northeastern France. That is considered France. Rest of those regions, they form their own countries with their own traditions and their own history, and they might talk about French occupation as golden age, but we wouldn't consider cities like Marseille today to be French. We would consider it to be Occitan, and probably have a different name. In the middle of Paris, by the end of the war, a Turkish general was supposed to honor the accomplishments made. He was not a great general who had a massive stake in the war, but he was one of the generals who fought in the battle. And this was the end of the last battle of the war in Paris. The Turkish general, he decided, he had to give a very important speech. Very complicated speech in multiple languages and whatnot. In French, in English, in German, in Russian, and in Turkish. But guess what? He could not pronounce the French words. He could not pronounce the Russian words. He could only pronounce his own language. And so rather than saying anything, he said a phrase that was common, used by the old Turkish crusaders that everybody could understand. He rose his bayonet in the air, and he decried to all Christians on the battlefield that were fighting, Kral İsa'ya yaşa! Anyways, this is Julius Caesar getting stabbed by Brutus.